Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to English Listening Practice. Today, I want to ask you a very simple question. Did you feel happy today? It sounds easy, right? But many of us forget to ask it. We wake up, rush to work, check our phones, worry about tomorrow. And suddenly, the day is gone. We are busy, tired, and serious, but not always happy. Happiness isn't just about smiling or laughing. It's about feeling alive, feeling grateful, and noticing small moments of peace. Sometimes, happiness is sitting with a friend, hearing a kind word, or simply watching the sunset. So today, let's slow down together. Let's talk about what real happiness means, okay? And how we can share it with the people around us, because happiness grows when we give it away. You know, life moves so quickly that sometimes we forget to stop and ask ourselves one small question. Did I feel happy today? We wake up early, rush to get ready, check our phones before we even open our eyes properly, and run to work or school. The hours pass, the day ends, and we tell ourselves, I'll rest tomorrow or I'll be happy later. But somehow, later never really comes. Most people live their days in a hurry, working, worrying, planning, and repeating the same routine. We keep waiting for the weekend, or for the next holiday, or for some perfect moment to finally feel relaxed. But life doesn't pause and wait for us to enjoy it. While we're busy planning for some day, time keeps quietly moving forward. Sometimes we think happiness will appear after success, or money, or after we fix all our problems. We tell ourselves, when I finish this project, or when I have enough money, or when I finally get a better job, I'll be happy. But have you noticed that even when one goal is reached, another quickly replaces it? There's always something more to chase. That's how happiness becomes a thing we postpone. Something for the future instead of something for now. There's a story about a man who worked very hard. Every single day. He told his family, I'm doing all of this for you. When I retire, we'll be happy together. Years passed. He became successful, but he missed family dinners, weekends, and moments with friends. When retirement finally came, his children were grown, and his house felt quiet. He realized he had spent his best years preparing for happiness instead of living it. It's easy to fall into that same trap. Maybe you've done it too, telling yourself that you'll smile later, rest later, live later. But later is not a real day on the calendar. All we really have is today, this moment, right now. The truth is, happiness doesn't wait for the future. It hides inside the small things we often ignore. Think about the smell of your morning coffee, the sound of birds when the world is still quiet, the short message from a friend that made you smile, the gentle wind on your walk home. These are not small moments. They are life itself. When we rush too much, we step right over them. We forget that peace and joy are not loud. They whisper softly, waiting for us to notice. Sometimes I think we've all forgotten how to slow down. Even when we sit still, our minds keep running, worrying about work, bills, or what other people think. But happiness isn't hiding in our busyness. It's waiting in our stillness. You don't need a big trip or expensive things to feel happy. You just need a small pause to look around and say, this moment is enough. Maybe today you can try something simple. When you eat, really taste your food. When you talk to someone, truly listen. When you see the sky, look at it for a little longer. When you feel tired, don't fight it. Breathe deeply and rest. These small choices connect you back to life, back to yourself. I know it's not easy. We live in a world that tells us to do more, earn more, and move faster. But happiness doesn't come from speed. It comes from presence, from being where you are, not where you think you should be. Even 5 quiet minutes can remind your heart that you're still alive, still human, still capable of feeling joy. So let me ask you again, my friend. When was the last time you truly smiled? Not because you had to, not for a photo, not to be polite, but because your heart suddenly felt light. If you can't remember, maybe today is the day to start again. You don't need a reason. You don't need a perfect day. Just stop for a moment. Take a breath. Look around. There is beauty somewhere near you, even in this busy life. You only have to see it, because one day, when you look back, you'll realize that happiness wasn't hiding in the future. It was quietly walking beside you all along, waiting for you to slow down enough to walk with it. After all this talk about slowing down, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that no matter how much you do, it never feels like enough? You reach one goal, and right away, another one appears. You buy something new, and a week later, you want something else. Why does it happen? Why do we always feel that we need more money, more success, more recognition? This is the quiet trap that many of us fall into, the trap of greed. It doesn't always look evil or selfish. Sometimes it hides behind good reasons, wanting a better life, trying to care for your family, or chasing a dream. But step by step, this desire can grow too strong. It begins to control us instead of helping us. We start believing that more will finally make us happy. But here's the truth. When we make life all about more, peace disappears. Think about it. How many people in the world have everything they once wished for, but still feel empty inside? Maybe you know someone like that. Maybe, sometimes, it's even you. There's a story about a man named David. He worked in an office. Always busy, always serious. Every year, he told himself, just one more promotion, just one more raise. Then I'll finally rest. And yes, he did get the promotion. Then another one. His salary grew, his house got bigger, his car became newer. From the outside, people admired him. But on the inside, something was missing. One day, his old friend from school invited him to dinner. They sat in a small restaurant, laughing about old times. His friend wasn't rich. He lived in a small apartment, worked an average job, but smiled more in one evening than David had in years. When David went home that night, he sat in silence. He realized something painful. He had earned more, but smiled less. Let me ask you this. Have you ever worked so hard for something, only to feel surprisingly empty when you finally got it? Have you ever thought, why don't I feel happier? It's because happiness doesn't grow from greed. It grows from gratitude. Greed is like a cup with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never feels full. Gratitude, on the other hand, is like sunshine. Even a small amount can light up your whole day, you see? When we live only for more, we forget how to enjoy enough. We forget the joy of simple things. A calm morning, laughter with friends, the smell of food cooking at home. These small gifts are always there, but greed makes us blind to them. Ask yourself, what if you already have everything you need to be happy? What if the problem is not what's missing, but what you're not noticing? Sometimes we think happiness lives in a bigger house, a better job, or a more perfect life. But happiness doesn't live there. Happiness lives inside the heart that says, thank you. Let me tell you another short story. There was a woman named Mai. She worked in a cafe, earning just enough to live simply. One day, a customer asked her, "Aren't you tired of working so much for so little?" Mai smiled and said, "Maybe, but I like my life. Every morning, I make coffee for people. I talk to them, I laugh, I learn something new. When I go home, I'm tired, but my heart is light." Her happiness didn't come from what she had, but from how she saw the world. It's not wrong to want success. It's not wrong to dream big or earn more. But the danger comes when we let those things steal our peace. You can have both ambition and gratitude, but one must lead the other. Gratitude should guide ambition, not the other way around. Maybe you're asking yourself now, so how can I find balance? The answer is simple, but not easy. Start by noticing the small things. When you wake up, instead of thinking, I have so much to do, try thinking, I'm lucky to see another day. When you eat, taste your food and remember someone grew it. Someone cooked it and now it's giving you strength. When you work, do it with pride, but remember, you are more than your job. You don't need to give up your dreams. You just need to remember that life is not a competition. There's enough light for everyone. You don't have to run faster than others. You just have to walk in your own direction with peace in your heart. Ask yourself this: if everything stopped tomorrow, your work, your plans, your busy schedule, what would still make you smile? Who would you want to see? What would you be thankful for? When you find those answers, you find your real treasures, not the ones that can be bought, but the ones that make life beautiful. Greed says, I'll be happy when I have more. Gratitude says, I'm happy because I already have enough. So the next time you feel tired or jealous of someone else's success, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what do I already have that makes my life good? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's a friend who listens. Maybe it's your morning cup of tea. Maybe it's simply the fact that you're still here, still learning, still growing. When we see the world through gratitude, even ordinary moments shine. That's the real magic, not to get everything you want, but to love what you already have. So tonight, before you sleep, don't count your worries. Count your blessings. Don't ask, what am I missing? Ask, what am I grateful for? Because the truth is, happiness doesn't come from the things we collect. It comes from the heart that knows how to appreciate. And maybe, just maybe, when you start seeing life this way, when you begin to thank life for what you already have, you'll realize that peace was never far away. It was just waiting for you to stop chasing and start noticing. So tell me, my friend, what are you grateful for today? After we step away from greed and stop chasing more, something magical begins to happen. We start to notice the small things again. The quiet, gentle things that we used to overlook. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly enjoyed your morning coffee? Not drinking it while checking your phone or rushing to work, but really tasting it. Feeling the warmth in your hands, the smell of roasted beans, the small comfort of a new day beginning. It's a simple thing, isn't it? But sometimes, simple things carry the deepest happiness. Maybe you felt that moment, sunlight touching your face through the window. The sound of birds early in the morning. That tiny laugh from someone you love. A good song that makes your heart lighter. These moments don't cost money. They don't require success. They're already waiting for us if we only pay attention. But here's the problem. Most people are too busy to notice them. We think happiness must be a big event, a promotion, a trip, a new house. But those big moments come and go. Real happiness hides in the small, quiet corners of daily life. Think about a time you laughed so hard with your friends that your stomach hurt. Did you plan that laughter? Did it come from money or power? No. It came from connection, from a moment that just happened naturally. Maybe happiness is like that. It's not something you can chase, but something that visits when your heart is calm enough to notice it. There's a story about an old man who lived by the sea. Every morning he walked along the shore with a cup of tea in his hand. Someone once asked him, "Don't you get bored doing the same thing every day?" He smiled and said, "The sea is never the same. Every morning the waves have a new story." What a beautiful answer. He didn't need something new or exciting to be happy. He just needed awareness, the ability to see beauty where others see routine. Let me ask you, what small joys do you have in your life right now? Maybe it's your favorite music, your child's laugh, or the first sip of coffee in the morning. Maybe it's the moment when you come home and take off your shoes after a long day. Or maybe it's the peaceful sound of rain on your window. These are not big things, but they make life full. We often forget that happiness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It hides in simple gestures. A friend remembering your name, a stranger holding the door open, someone saying thank you. When we begin to notice these things, our heart slowly softens. The world starts to look more beautiful. Even when nothing has changed. Sometimes we wait for happiness to appear, but happiness has been waiting for us. It's been waiting for us to slow down, to stop scrolling, to look around and say, wow, this moment is actually nice. Ask yourself, what if happiness isn't something you find later, but something that's already beside you right now in this very second? When you wake up tomorrow, try this little exercise. Before checking your phone or thinking about your schedule, take one deep breath. Look around. What's one small thing you can be thankful for? Maybe it's the morning light. Maybe it's the fact that you're alive to see another day. That simple thought can change the whole rhythm of your morning. We've been trained to chase big success, but not to celebrate small peace. Yet peace, not success, is what feeds the soul. You don't need a perfect life to feel happy. You just need a moment to pause and notice what's already good. Imagine if you collected small joys like you collect photos. One photo for each happy moment, the laugh of a friend, a walk in nature, a cozy evening at home. How big would your album be by the end of the year? That's what rediscovering joy means. It's not about creating new happiness. It's about remembering the happiness that's been hiding in plain sight. Let me ask you another question. Do you think it's possible to feel truly happy without anything changing in your life, just by changing how you see it? The answer is yes. Absolutely yes. Happiness is a lens, not a destination. When your eyes learn to see small joys, even an ordinary day becomes a gift. So, here's a small challenge for you. Something simple but powerful. Every day for 1 week. Write down one thing that made you smile. Just one. It could be something tiny, someone's kind words, a nice meal, a funny video. By the end of the week, you'll see that happiness was never missing. It was just quiet, waiting for your attention. And when you learn to find joy in small things, big problems start to feel smaller too. Because gratitude changes everything, not the situation, but how we experience it. So tonight, before you go to sleep, close your eyes and ask yourself, what made me happy today? Even if it's something simple like I saw a pretty sky, let that thought stay with you. That's how joy grows, quietly, gently. One small moment at a time. Happiness doesn't always arrive with noise or celebration. Sometimes it's just the warmth of sunlight, a song in your ear, or the comfort of knowing you are loved. Rediscover those little things. They are life's way of smiling at you. Because when you can see joy in the ordinary, you'll realize something beautiful. Every day already gives you a reason to smile. You just have to notice it. When we start to notice small joys in life, we begin to understand something even deeper. Happiness grows stronger when it's shared. Think about it. Have you ever watched a funny movie alone? You might smile a little. But when you watch that same movie with your friend, what happens? You laugh louder, you talk about your favorite parts, you feel connected. That's because happiness doesn't like to stay alone. It loves company. We live in a world full of things: phones, cars, clothes, devices. Yet none of these things can hug you when you're sad. None of them can listen to your worries or share your laughter. People can dot our relationships with family. Friends, coworkers, neighbors are what give color to our days. They remind us that we are not walking this life alone. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who worked in a busy city office. Every day, he rushed through lunch, eating alone at his desk while checking emails. He told himself he was saving time. But slowly, he started to feel empty, like something was missing. One day, a colleague invited him to join her for lunch. He hesitated at first, but he went. They talked, laughed, shared stories. For the first time in weeks, he didn't check his phone once. That one simple lunch gave him more happiness than any of his quick, lonely meals. He realized something powerful. Sharing time with others feeds your heart in a way that work never can. Let me ask you, when was the last time you shared a meal? A walk or a deep talk with someone really shared it, without distractions. Didn't it feel warm? Didn't it make your problems seem smaller, even just for a while? That's the quiet magic of connection. When happiness is shared, it multiplies. When sadness is shared, it divides. Sometimes we think we don't have time for people because we're too busy. But what if spending time with people is actually what makes time feel meaningful? A 5-minute conversation with someone who understands you can refresh your mind more than hours of scrolling on your phone. There's a saying, happiness shared becomes happiness doubled. It's true. A smile given to someone often returns as another smile. A kind word can light up someone's whole day. And when you see that light in their eyes, it reflects back into your own heart. I remember meeting an elderly woman in a park once. She was feeding birds and humming a song. I asked her, "You look so happy. What's your secret?" She smiled and said, "I talk to people every day, even strangers. Every smile I give, I get one back." Such a simple idea, but such deep wisdom. You don't need to wait for perfect relationships to feel connected. You just need to open your heart to give kindness, to listen, to care. Sometimes, we think happiness means avoiding problems or protecting ourselves from others. But isolation only makes sadness stronger. Sharing makes it lighter. Do you know someone who might need a little bit of happiness today? Maybe a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, a coworker who seems tired, or even a family member who misses your voice. What if you reached out, just a short message, a quick call, or a smile? It might look small, but it could mean everything to them. When we focus only on ourselves, happiness shrinks. When we include others, it expands. That's why family dinners, small gatherings, and heartfelt talks matter so much. They remind us that we are connected, and that /cord, and that connection is what our souls truly need. There's another story. This one about a woman who used to eat lunch alone every day in a crowded city cafe. She always sat near the window, quiet and thoughtful. One day, a man asked if he could share her table because the cafe was full. They talked a little. The next day, they met again. Over time, they became friends. Years later, she said, "That small moment changed my life. I realized how beautiful life becomes when you stop eating alone." Maybe we all need to stop eating alone, not just food, but life itself. We need to share moments, emotions, and time. Because happiness doesn't live in isolation. It breathes through connection. Let me ask you this. Who makes you smile the most in your life? Is it your best friend, your child, your parents, your partner, or maybe even a teacher or coworker? Take a moment today to thank them. Tell them, "You make my days brighter." You'll be surprised at how warm your heart feels afterward, sometimes. We underestimate the power of a single kind action: listening, helping, giving time. But these are the building blocks of lasting happiness. When you make someone else smile, you're also feeding your own soul. Remember, happiness doesn't have to be loud. It can be as quiet as two people sitting together, not even talking, just feeling peace in each other's presence. So maybe the real secret is this: happiness starts with you, but it grows with others. If you've been feeling lonely or tired lately, don't wait for someone to find you. Be the one who reaches out. Be the one who shares the smile first, because every connection you make adds a little more light to your life and to the world around you. And when we all share that light, imagine how bright our world could be. After talking about the happiness we share with others, I want to ask you something simple. When was the last time you smiled, truly smiled from your heart? Not the polite smile you give to someone passing by. Not the quick smile you use to hide your tiredness, but a real one, the kind that makes your eyes shine and your heart feel light. It's strange, isn't it? Smiling is one of the easiest things to do, yet we often forget how. Sometimes life feels heavy. Work piles up, people disappoint us, worries fill our minds. We start to believe we'll smile again after things get better, after the problems are gone. But days, weeks, even months can pass that way. And one day, we look in the mirror and wonder, when did I stop smiling? Sadness, stress, and loneliness have a quiet power. They don't shout, but they slowly dim our light. They make us serious, cautious, afraid to hope too much. But even in those moments, we still have a choice to let the darkness stay, or to bring in a little bit of light. And that light can begin with something as small as a smile. A smile is like sunlight. It warms your face, but it also reaches others. Even on the coldest day, a single ray of sunlight can make everything look softer, brighter. In the same way, a smile can change not only your own mood, but also the mood of someone near you. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who smiled at you when you were feeling down? Maybe it was a cashier, a friend, or even a stranger. For just a moment, you felt lighter. Their smile didn't solve your problems, but it reminded you that kindness still exists. So why do we stop smiling when life gets hard? Maybe because we think smiling means pretending that everything is fine. But it doesn't. Smiling is not denial. It's courage. It's saying, yes, life is difficult right now, but I choose not to let it take away my light. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who worked at a small shop in a busy city. Every day, hundreds of people came and went. Some were kind, some were rude. But no matter what, she always smiled. One day, a customer asked her, "How do you keep smiling every day?" She said softly, "Because I know someone might need it more than I do." Isn't that beautiful? Her smile wasn't just for herself. It was a gift to the world around her. Maybe that's something we can all learn. Your smile might be small, but it could be the only light someone sees today. Sometimes we think happiness must come first, and then we'll smile. But often, it works the other way. When you smile, even when you don't feel like it, your body and mind slowly begin to follow. It's like telling your heart, "Hey, it's okay. We're still here. Let's keep going." Doesn't mean ignoring sadness. It means holding sadness gently, but also keeping space for hope. You see, smiling isn't about pretending that life is perfect. It's about remembering that life is still worth living, even when it's hard. There's a small saying I love. Sometimes your smile is the reason someone else smiles. How true that is. You never know who might need your light today. Let me ask you something. How many people did you smile at today? Your family? Your coworker? A stranger? Or maybe no one yet? Try it tomorrow. Just one genuine smile. You'll be surprised how easily it spreads. And if you're going through something painful right now, don't feel guilty for not smiling all the time. Take your time to heal. But when you're ready, let a little light back in. Even one small smile can remind you that you are stronger than the pain. Smiling doesn't erase sadness, but it balances it like sunlight and shadow. Both belong to life. Without sadness, we might not truly understand joy. So the next time you catch yourself frowning, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what can I smile about right now? Maybe it's something small, the smell of coffee, a kind message, a memory that makes you warm inside. Find that one thing. Let it reach your face. Feel your heart soften, even just a little. Because when you smile, really smile, the world seems to breathe with you again. Some people think they need to fix everything before they can be happy. But sometimes happiness begins with a single small act, lifting your head, taking a breath, and sharing a smile. It's the simplest way to remind yourself that you're alive and that life, even with its pain, still holds beauty. So tonight, when you see your reflection, try smiling at yourself. Don't wait for a reason, just smile. You might be surprised at how much your heart needed it, and tomorrow, smile at one more person. Maybe someone who looks tired or someone who's quiet. Your small act could be their reason to keep going, because smiles are free, but they are worth more than gold. They cost nothing, yet they can heal wounds we can't see, so don't forget your smile. It's not just a decoration for your face, it's a message from your heart that says, I'm still here. I still choose light. Even when the world feels heavy, that one small smile can make a big difference for you and for someone else. After talking about the power of a smile, let's move to another big part of life, work. For many people, work feels like the opposite of happiness. It's early mornings, long hours, meetings, stress, and endless to-do lists. Some people even wake up already tired, thinking, I wish today was over before it even starts. But here's something to think about. What if work isn't the enemy of happiness? What if it's another place where happiness can grow, if we see it differently? Let me ask you, do you believe it's possible to feel joy while working? Not just joy when the weekend comes or when the paycheck arrives, but joy inside the work itself. Many people say, I'll be happy when I have a better job. But years pass, and that happiness keeps moving further away. The truth is, happiness doesn't wait at the finish line. It lives in the small moments along the way. Imagine this. A teacher walks into her classroom every day. She's tired, her workload is heavy, and the students are noisy. But instead of focusing on what's wrong, she decides to see what's right. She notices when a student finally understands a lesson. She smiles when a child says, thank you. She finds meaning in the progress, not perfection, of her day. Her work hasn't changed, but her heart has. Sometimes, happiness isn't about doing less work. It's about finding more meaning in what you do. There's a quiet kind of peace that comes from doing your best, even when no one sees it. It's knowing that you're contributing something, maybe to your family, maybe to your team, maybe to the world in some small way. Think about your own job. Is there something, even a small part, that you can feel proud of? Maybe it's helping a customer, creating something useful, or simply being kind to the people you work with. Sometimes we forget that kindness can turn ordinary work into something beautiful. A smile to a coworker. A thank you to the cleaner. A small act of help when someone struggles. These are not big things, but they make the workplace brighter, for you and everyone around you. Here's a story I once heard. A man worked as a janitor in a large hospital. One day, someone asked him, "Isn't your job boring?" He smiled and said, "No, I help doctors and nurses save lives. The cleaner the place, the safer the patients." Isn't that amazing? He didn't see himself as just a janitor. He saw meaning in what he did. That meaning brought him peace. Happiness at work doesn't come from title or salary. It comes from attitude, from the way you choose to see what you do. Of course, not every day is perfect. Some days are hard. Some people are difficult. But even then, your kindness, patience, and effort can make a small difference. And sometimes, that's enough. Let me ask you another question. When was the last time you felt proud of your work? Truly proud? Maybe you finished a project. Maybe you helped someone. Or maybe you simply showed up on a tough day when you didn't want to. That's strength. And strength can live side by side with happiness. There's a simple truth. Work fills much of our lives. So if we hate every minute of it, we'll spend most of our time unhappy. But if we can find small joys, even in busy hours, we can transform the way we live. Try this tomorrow. when you start your work. Take one deep breath and say to yourself, I will do this with love. It doesn't matter what kind of job you do, teacher, cleaner, driver, student, business person. When your heart is kind, your work becomes lighter. Because peace doesn't come from having less to do. It comes from doing what you do with peace inside. You, sometimes. Helping one coworker or saying something encouraging can completely change the atmosphere of the day. Even when tasks are repetitive or boring, remember that your effort is part of something bigger. Every job, big or small, keeps the world moving. And when you work with care, you're adding light to that world. Let me tell you another short story. A woman worked at a bakery. Her days were long, standing for hours, baking bread, cleaning ovens. She often felt exhausted. One day, a little boy came to the counter and said, "Your bread makes my mom smile." Those simple words changed how she saw her work. From that day, every loaf she made was filled with a quiet sense of purpose. That's the beauty of seeing work not as punishment, but as contribution. Maybe happiness at work doesn't mean smiling all the time. Maybe it means feeling useful, connected, and thankful that you can do something today, even something small. So, the next time you feel tired or stressed, pause and ask yourself, what am I really working for? If the answer is for my family, for my dreams, or to grow, then there's meaning there, and where there's meaning, happiness can live too. Remember this, you can find peace even in busy moments if your heart is kind. Work done with love becomes more than work. It becomes a form of happiness itself. So don't wait for retirement, or weekends, or holidays to be happy. Find it in your daily effort. Find it in every thank you, every task done well, every smile you give and receive. Because maybe happiness isn't something we find after work. Maybe happiness is the work when it's done with heart. After talking about finding happiness in work, let's move to something even more precious: family. Because no matter how busy we are, no matter how many hours we spend at work, at the end of the day, it's the people waiting for us that truly matter. Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you said thank you to your parents? Or told your partner, "I'm glad you're with me"? Or looked at your child and said, "You make my life brighter"? We often think our love is obvious, that people already know how we feel. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're waiting to hear it. Gratitude is a small word, but it has quiet power. It turns ordinary moments into memories, and ordinary people into treasures. Think about your parents. When we're young, we rarely see how much they do. We think they'll always be there, cooking, working, worrying, caring. But one day, we realize time has moved faster than we thought. Their hair turns gray, their steps slow down, and suddenly, we wish we had said thank you more often. Maybe your parents weren't perfect. No one is. But even small sacrifices, quiet efforts, and simple acts of care deserve appreciation. Sometimes, just saying, "I see what you've done for me," can bring tears of happiness to their eyes. Now, think about your partner, the person who walks beside you in daily life. Work, stress, and routines can make us forget the warmth that brought us together in the first place. We argue about small things, rush through conversations, and forget to look at each other with kindness. But one kind word, one gentle smile can rebuild what silence or stress has weakened. Saying thank you or "I appreciate you" doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you still care. Gratitude keeps love alive. It reminds us that we're not alone in this journey of life. And what about children? They may not say it out loud, but they learn love by watching us, how we speak, how we treat others, how we handle joy and pain. When you hug your child and say, "I'm proud of you," you're not just giving love, you're teaching it. Family is not always easy. There are arguments, misunderstandings, and differences. But gratitude is what keeps hearts connected, even when opinions clash. You don't have to have a perfect family to have love, just a grateful one. Sometimes, happiness isn't about getting something new. It's about recognizing what you already have. The meal shared with your parents, the laughter of your children, the quiet support of a friend or partner. These are the real treasures of life, the ones money can't buy and time can't replace. Let me tell you a small story. There was a man who worked very hard. He often came home late, tired and silent. His wife always prepared dinner, waiting for him patiently. One day, she wasn't there when he arrived. She had gone to visit her parents. He sat alone at the table, looking at the empty chair across from him. For the first time, he realized how much warmth her quiet presence had brought every night. The next day, he greeted her with a smile and said, "Thank you for waiting for me every day." She smiled back, surprised, touched, and happy. A simple word, "thank you," changed the mood of their entire home. We often think happiness comes from big achievements, but sometimes it's found in these quiet moments of appreciation. Let me ask you again, when was the last time you said thank you? Not as a habit, but with feeling. To your parents, your partner, your children, or even a friend. Gratitude doesn't only make others feel loved, it changes you too. When you focus on what's good, you see more good. When you appreciate what you have, life starts to feel richer. Even during hard times, gratitude can be your anchor. When work is stressful, remember your family's support. When you feel lonely, remember the people who still care about you. When life feels heavy, look for one small thing to be thankful for. Maybe just the air you breathe, or the roof over your head. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. And from that, enough, peace begins to grow. You see, happiness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, found in the sound of laughter at dinner, a message from a friend, a warm good morning, or the soft hand of someone you love. When you start to notice these moments, your heart changes. Life doesn't suddenly become perfect, but it becomes meaningful. So tonight, before you sleep, take a few seconds and ask yourself, who made your day a little better today? Who deserves a thank you, even a silent one in your heart? Because happiness doesn't only come from chasing more. It comes from appreciating what's already here. Family, love, friendship. These are the roots of real happiness. They remind us that even in a busy, noisy world, we're never truly alone. So don't wait for special occasions to show gratitude. Say thank you today. Send that message. Give that hug. Let the people around you know they matter. Because one day, you'll look back and you'll be grateful that you did. Gratitude turns ordinary days into blessings, and the people in your life into reasons to smile. After talking about gratitude in our families, let's take one more step beyond our homes, beyond ourselves. Because happiness is not meant to be kept inside. It's meant to be shared. Have you ever noticed what happens when you smile at someone, maybe a stranger on the street, or a tired cashier at the store? At first, they might look surprised. Then, almost naturally, they smile back. That small exchange, that simple connection, is something powerful. It's like lighting one candle with another. Your flame doesn't grow smaller. It multiplies. That's what happiness does. When you share it, it doesn't disappear. It grows. We often think happiness is something personal, something private. But real happiness moves. It travels from heart to heart. You feel it, you give it, and it comes back to you in unexpected ways. Let me ask you, when was the last time you made someone smile? Not with money or gifts, but just with your kindness, a word, a compliment, or a moment of listening. We live in a world where people are often too busy to connect. Everyone walks fast, looks at their phone, forgets that every person they pass is carrying their own worries, their own dreams. But one kind word, one smile, can make their day a little lighter. Maybe the person you smiled at was having a bad morning. Maybe they were feeling invisible. Your smile, small as it seems, might remind them that kindness still exists. This is what I call an emotional chain reaction. One kind act starts another. One smile creates another. One moment of care spreads warmth through the air like sunlight through clouds. Think about it. If you make one person feel seen, they might treat the next person more kindly. That next person might do the same, and the chain continues. It's a quiet, beautiful ripple of happiness that begins with you. Here's a little story. There was once a man who worked in a big city. Every morning he took the same bus. He noticed the driver always looked serious, tired, and silent. One morning, the man decided to smile and say, "Good morning." The driver looked surprised but smiled back. The next day, the same thing happened. After a week, the driver started greeting him first, and then, slowly. The driver began greeting other passengers too. One small good morning had changed the energy of that entire bus. The man didn't give money, didn't say anything special, just a little kindness. But that's what sharing happiness looks like. Sometimes. People think happiness is selfish, that we should focus on our own goals and success. But the truth is, joy becomes stronger when it's shared. Imagine laughter. You can't really laugh alone for long. It's contagious, right? When someone laughs, you want to laugh too. That's how happiness works. It spreads naturally, without force. And here's the beautiful part. Sharing happiness doesn't mean you have to be perfectly happy yourself. Even when you're struggling, being kind or smiling at someone can lift your own spirit. Because giving joy is one of the fastest ways to feel it again. Maybe today, you're tired. Maybe your heart feels heavy. Still try this small act. Say something nice to someone. Send a message to a friend. Smile at the next person you see. You might be surprised how quickly your mood changes. When you lift someone else, your own heart becomes lighter. Think about a candle again. If one candle lights another, both shine. Neither loses its flame. But together, they create more light for everyone around them. That's what shared happiness is, not losing your light, but multiplying it. And maybe, just maybe, the person you make smile today will pass that smile to someone else tomorrow. A stranger at a cafe, a tired teacher, a lonely neighbor. One day, that same chain of happiness might circle back to you when you need it most. So ask yourself right now, who can I make smile today? Whose heart can I warm, even just a little? You don't need big gestures. You don't need to be rich, or famous, or perfectly happy. You just need to be kind, real, and present. Say something kind. Listen without judgment. Offer help when someone looks lost, or simply share a moment of laughter. Because, in the end, happiness is not about owning more. It's about connecting more. Let's make the world a little warmer, one smile at a time. Let's create those small emotional chain reactions that remind people they're not alone. The next time you walk outside, notice someone's eyes. Maybe they look tired or sad. Offer them your smile. You don't need to say a word. Just that little moment might change their day. And you know what's amazing? When you see them smile back, something inside you smiles too. That's happiness returning home. So remember, happiness is not a thing to be kept. It's a light to be shared. It's not about being the happiest person in the world. It's about helping someone else feel a little brighter. Because when happiness moves, the world moves with it. And in that movement, we find meaning. So share your happiness today and watch how far your light can go. Sometimes people think that happiness is something soft, something weak. They believe that strong people must always be serious, tough, and silent. But that's not true. Real strength isn't about how loud you are or how much you can fight. Real strength is when your heart can still choose joy even in pain. Have you ever met someone who smiles even when life is hard? Maybe they've lost something or they're struggling quietly, yet they still find a way to be kind. You might wonder, how can they still smile? That's not weakness, that's courage. Happiness is not about ignoring problems. It's about facing them with light inside. When you decide to stay kind, calm, and hopeful, even when things go wrong, you are showing true strength. Because anyone can smile when life is easy. But to smile when your heart is heavy, that's power. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you went through a hard day and still said, "I'll be okay"? When was the last time you encouraged someone else, even when you were tired yourself? Those moments, quiet, invisible to others, are proof of your strength. There's a story I once heard about a woman who lost her job. At first, she cried for days, feeling hopeless. But then she decided to do one simple thing. Every morning, she would write down 3 things she was thankful for. At first, the list was small: my coffee, the sunshine, my cat. But slowly, that small act changed her. She started smiling again. She found courage to look for a new job, and eventually, she did one she loved even more. She didn't find happiness after her problems were solved. She found happiness inside the problem. That's the strength we're talking about. It's easy to let sadness control us. It's easy to say, "I'll be happy when life gets better." But what if you chose happiness first, right in the middle of the storm? That's what strong hearts do. Think of a tree in the wind. The wind is strong, but the tree bends instead of breaking. It stays rooted. It doesn't give up. That's what happiness does. It keeps you flexible, calm, and alive, even when life blows hard. Sometimes people say, "I can't be happy right now. I have too many problems." But happiness doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you are choosing to see the light while walking through the dark. Ask yourself, what gives me strength when life feels heavy? Who helps me smile again when I fall down? And maybe even more importantly, how can I be that light for someone else? Because happiness is not selfish. When you keep a peaceful heart, you bring peace to others too. Your calmness becomes their comfort. Your hope becomes their reminder to keep going. There's another story. Maybe you've seen this kind of person before. An old man sits at a small cafe every morning, drinking tea. People around him hurry, rushing to work. But he just sits there, smiling softly, greeting everyone who passes. He's not rich, not famous, but people love seeing him. Why? Because his presence brings peace. His quiet happiness gives others strength. That's the kind of power happiness has. Not loud, not dramatic, but strong and steady. Maybe today you are facing something difficult, pressure at work, family worries, or loneliness. And maybe your mind tells you you don't have time to be happy. But happiness is not a waste of time. It's what keeps your spirit alive. It's what gives you energy to keep moving forward. Remember, this message: strong hearts choose joy even in pain, even when you are tired. Try to find one thing that still makes you smile: a song, a warm drink, a kind memory. Because that little spark can remind you you are stronger than your sadness. Don't mistake peace for weakness. Don't confuse gentleness with giving up. The ones who smile through struggle, the ones who stay kind when the world is cruel, they are the true warriors of the heart. When you choose happiness, you're not escaping reality, you're transforming it. You're saying, "Yes, life is hard, but I will still be kind. I will still hope. I will still love." And that attitude changes everything. Not only for you, but for everyone around you. So the next time you face a hard moment, don't say, "I can't be happy right now." Instead, say, "I will find something small to be grateful for." You might not feel perfect happiness, but you'll feel peace, and peace is the root of strength. The truth is, life will always have storms. But happiness is your umbrella. It won't stop the rain, but it will help you dance through it. And maybe that's what it really means to be strong, to dance even when the music of life sounds sad. So, my friend, hold on to your smile. Keep your hope alive. Because every time you choose to smile through pain, you show the world what true strength looks like. Happiness is not weakness, it's courage wearing a smile. So now, my dear friend, we've come to the end of this little journey together. We've talked about time, people, smiles, and strength, but really, everything comes down to one beautiful truth. Happiness is not something we find. It's something we create. Let's go back to the question we started with. Did you feel happy today? Don't rush your answer. Think about it for a moment. Did something make you smile? Maybe it was small, a warm drink, a message from a friend, or the sound of laughter nearby. Maybe you didn't notice it before because life was moving too fast, but it was there. Happiness is almost always there, quiet, patient, waiting for us to notice. Sometimes we think happiness is a big event, like getting a new job, or buying something new, or achieving a dream. But most of the time, it's hidden in small things. It's in your morning walk, your family's voice, or the peace you feel after finishing a long day. It's in the way sunlight touches your window, or in that moment you finally take a deep breath and let go. Happiness doesn't need to be chased. It just needs to be seen. So I want to remind you, don't wait for happiness to come knocking. Don't wait for the perfect day, the perfect moment, or the perfect version of your life. Because if you keep waiting, you'll miss all the beautiful moments that are already here. You can choose happiness right now, even in small ways. Smile for no reason. Say something kind. Send a message to someone you care about. Look around and whisper, "Thank you for this moment." And then, don't keep that happiness locked inside you. Share it. Happiness grows when we give it away. If you smile at someone, you might change their entire day, and they might pass that smile to someone else. Your small act of kindness can travel farther than you imagine. It might reach someone who truly needs it, someone who feels alone or forgotten. So today, after watching this video, I want you to do one simple thing. Just one. Share a little happiness. It doesn't have to be big. A smile, a kind word, a small thank you, a gentle "how are you?" Because when you share happiness, you don't lose it, you multiply it. You make the world just a little softer, a little warmer, a little brighter, and you make yourself stronger too. Because a heart that gives is a heart that grows. Let's remember everything we've learned together, that happiness is not about greed or having more, it's about gratitude. That happiness doesn't disappear in hard times. It gives you courage to face them. That happiness is not found somewhere far away. It begins inside you, right where you are. So once more, my dear friend, let me ask, did you feel happy today? If your answer is yes, wonderful. Hold that feeling close. And if your answer is not yet, that's okay too. Because the day isn't over. You can still create a moment of happiness. Right now, maybe it's as simple as smiling to yourself, saying out loud, "I'm thankful for this life." Maybe it's sending love to someone in your thoughts. Whatever it is, do it with a warm heart. Because happiness doesn't just fill your life, it gives meaning to it. As we end this talk, I want to leave you with one final message. Don't wait for happiness to find you. Create it, live it, and share it every single day. Let your life be full of small joys. Let your smile be a light for others. And remember, the happiest people are not those who have everything, but those who appreciate what they already have and share it with the world. So go ahead, feel happy, share happy. The world needs your smile today.